Hello, welcome to Dungeon Draws Podcast. I'm your host, Justin, and today we're reviewing a movie, a horror film, Doctor Sleep, directed by Mike Flanagan, which I'm not really familiar with this director, right? Uh, let's check with this. He did Hush. Oh, I never saw that. I've heard of it. Oculus, Before I Wake, Gerard's Game. That will explain why the fireman from Twin Peaks is in the film, right? And today we're reviewing based on Kevin Street's recommendation from his live stream. We're reviewing Doctor Sleep, which is the sequel to The Shining, based off the book by Stephen King, which I never. This is my first time watching this film. I didn't watch it for a long time because I've heard bad things about it, and I accidentally listened to spoiler reviews for it. Which I know I do basically I do reviews where I spoil the entire film, but I do that because I feel like there's a necessary context, right? And there's a lot of people don't get bothered by spoilers, right? But yeah, so I watched the film, and despite the fact that the movie's 3 hours, right? I watched the entire thing. Halloween's almost over. It's 24 minutes till Halloween is over, and I gotta say, I spent my Halloween night watching this film, and boy, was I blown away on how great this movie was, right? Which, a lot of people trash this movie because, they were like, how the hell can you do a sequel to The Shining, right? Even though it was based off a book by Stephen King, but people were like, Stanley Kubrick, elevated the work. I don't know if I agree with that. I don't know if I agree with that statement at all. I honestly always thought that The Shining was a little bit overrated if it wasn't for all the weird shit, like the behind the scenes shit, like the hidden messages in the movie, which if you I never saw that documentary Room 237 or whatever, the documentary that claims that the movie is basically Stanley Kubrick admitting to directing the directing the moon the moon landing, right? But yeah, I gotta say, if you're into analysis, check out Jay Dyer's analysis of The Shining. It's actually pretty mind blowing if what he says is true, which I don't know, right? So I should get into what the movie's about, which it stars Ewan McGregor, Obi-Wan Kenobi from the prequels, as Torrance, or Dan Torrance, who is the son of the main character from The Shining, right? Danny, who is an alcoholic in the beginning of the movie. He hit rock bottom, right? And he just, after sleeping with this single mom and pondering stealing from her, which she stole from him first, but she needs that money to neglect the toddler in that film, right? So he gets visited by the ghost of Scatman Crothers, or whatever his name is, who doesn't really look like Scatman at all. That's my problem with the movie, is that they have a lot of returning characters that look nothing like the actors or the characters that are portrayed. The only one who does a good job is the Alex Esso, who plays Wendy Torrance, the mom, right? she's like the only one who got her impersonation down and kind of looks like the actress, at least with the hair she did. The guy they got to fucking play, uh, like Jack Nicholson's character in the film was, I think he's a good actor. It's like the guy from like E.T., right, who was also in Midnight Mass, which that show sucks, by the way. At least in my opinion it sucks, right? He's not even trying to do a Jack Nicholson impersonation. Does he kind of look like Jack Nicholson? Not even really. They do a good job of emulating his hairline, but like really, he did like a terrible job, in my opinion. I mean, acting wise, he was fine, but it's like they didn't even try, which is my one major complaint with the movie. Like, Jack Nicholson impersonators are a dime a dozen. Fucking, like, Puddle Cruiser, the first Broken Lizard film, had oh my god, one of my characters died. I gotta take care of that. Like, oh, I didn't bring, fuck. I didn't bring a revival. Oh well. A revive. Like, Broken Lizard's first film, Puddle Cruiser, had like a fucking Jack Nicholson movie, and that was like a shoestring budget, right? They didn't even try, and that's my one major complaint with the movie. Overall, I thought the movie was great. The story for the film is basically Ewan McGregor's character. It's basically a redemption story where he has to help this girl called Abra Stone, who's like the daughter of an interracial couple. I think her dad's supposed to be a writer. What her mom does, they don't really say. I guess she's a stay-at-home mom, and she has the Shining, and she's very strong in the Force. The Shining, she shines really bright, right? And we also get introduced to these group of psychic vampires who have connections with the governments and the NSA. They mentioned that, right? And they are basically former psychics like Danny and Abra who have turned into basically vampires, right? Who go around basically killing kids who have psychic powers and draining their essence, which they call the steam, which looks like smoke in the movie, by the way, right? And it's like, it's not, I'm not sure if exactly they're eating the souls of these kids, or it's just like, just their powers. It's not exactly clear, right? And you see one scene where they kidnap and kill a kid in the film, and it's pretty messed up. It's like the kid from The Room, if you ever saw that movie, which I never did, right? And his dad was played by the original actor of Danny, who looks like he can act, and looks like, you know, he could have done like a good job if they you know if they used them, which they didn't, right? I don't know. I think he probably would have done a good job. Yeah, I'm probably screwed. Fuck. Yeah. In this battle, yeah, I'm probably screwed. So, like, yeah, so what happens is that he's told by his mentor, Scatman Brothers, Danny, that he has to save the girl, right? Who accidentally sees the murder of the kid, right? And gets noticed by Rose the Hat, who's played by Rebecca Ferguson, right? Who is the main leader of the vampires, right? The other people are like Crow, who's like Native American guy, who I've seen in lots of horror movies. He's also in the show Longmire, and there's also Lonnie from Halloween Kills is in the movie as well, right? As one of the psychic vampires, which the scenes where they get killed is pretty cool because they just turn into smoke, and one of them dies because they don't live forever. They just live a long time, depending on the quality of the souls that they steal. They're like fucking Shang Tsung in this bitch, right? And you see one of them die, and he turns into puff of smoke, and they grieve for like half a second, and then they just swarm the smoke and breathe it all in, right? Absorbing the dude's soul, which is fucked, man, right? So like, um, other characters in the movie is Cliff Curtis, who helps uh, Dan Torrance, Ewan McGregor's character, get sober and turn his life around, and he joins in on the hunt for these, you know, psychic vampires to protect the girl. And there's this awesome scene in the movie where they set up a trap and they they ambush the psychic vampires with hunting rifles, and it's a very badass scene that you wouldn't expect in a movie like a horror movie like this, right? A fucking gunfight in a Stephen King movie. When was the last time? I can't even think of like a fucking time when like there was a gunfight in a Stephen King movie. I guess Dreamcatcher, but like usually the gunfights in like Stephen King movies are one sided. It's like one group shooting at another. It's not, it's not, you never see people like, sorry, no, one group shooting at like an unarmed group, like one sided. You don't usually see people shoot at each other, right? So like, yeah, and the scenes where they kill the psychic vampires, it's fucking awesome because like their skeletons glow and their eyes glow too in the film, right? And it's pretty cool. Though you also see how they recruit like psychics to join their groups, right? Which they recruit this 15-year-old girl who goes around like who goes around stealing from like baiting uh, predators basically and stealing from them and like fucking with their heads, right? And she you would think a character like that wouldn't uh wouldn't go from hunting predators to becoming a predator, right, herself. But like she does it because like she's the like they imply she's like a man-hating lesbian or some shit because like when she meets like Rose the Hat, she's like, you're the most beautiful woman I've ever seen. And it's like, dude, she's like 43 and she has like no tits. She's like in her 40s and has no tits, but whatever. I know people think she's hot. I know. I disagree on that. But yeah, the movie is basically like, it reminds me of an anime, honestly, where it's like, it's basically psychic warfare between psychics and like these like vampires. But like, yeah, they can be killed like normal humans, though. Like Rose is implied to be like, in the end of the film, they have the final showdown at the old hotel, right, which was fucking amazing setting to have like a final battle between like the vampires and our heroes, right? Which they even had, though it kind of felt like fan service whenever they showed like whenever they showed like shit from the original film, like the twins, the blood coming out of the elevator, the bartender who's like played by, instead of the original bartender, it's like the dad, right? Which I thought was, I mean, it was okay, right? Holy shit, he has low health for our champion, right? But like overall, I thought the movie was great, but my one problem with the film is that it's trying to be like this art house epic horror film, right? By making itself 3 hours. I did not think it was necessary that this movie needed to be 3 hours, honestly. I think it would have been fine just being like 2, maybe 2.5, but 3 hours, oh my god. And the first hour is really slow. It only starts to pick up like an hour and a half. Well, and that's when like basically the psychic war starts, right? Which I love the little psychic mind games and the reversals where they had an ambush for the vampires, and then the vampires had a trap for them while they were getting ambushed, right? And you just had like fucking like reversals and shit, which was fucking awesome. By the way, that's shit like you only see in anime, right? Which you don't expect to see in like fucking horror films, right? It was a fucking this movie is awesome, but some people might have like problems with the scenes where like the one scene where you see the one kid gets killed, right? But overall, I thought it was a great movie, and I'm giving it like probably. It's the thing. I would have given this movie like 8.5 or a 9, but the guy they got to get the guy they fucking got to play Jack Nicholson's part did a fucking terrible job, man. I mean, he was a good actor. It's just that he was miscast, dude. They should have just said. They should have just got like. They should have just got an impersonator or something, man. Yeah, so I don't know. I thought the movie was great, but overall, man, it is a bit too long, and like the fan service from the movie was a bit like, come on, was a bit like, annoying. But overall, I enjoyed the film, and I'm giving it 8 out of 10. So my next horror movie review is going to be like a Shudder film called Séance, which looks like it'll be shitty, but like, let's give it a shot. Alright